This video will cover the social and emotional roles that are typical in groups, as well as to what effect these roles truly play a role in group tasks.
Engineering requires a lot of collaborative work in different types of settings, so we hope that the information in this video helps you all as engineers and any other group work you have at ASU and in your futures as engineers.
And no two people are exactly alike, but the study of individuals and group interactions, some trends have been noticed through this, and that groups can behave similarly within the members in a general role. However, before we dive into specific roles that one can play, we should define what a role is, both an informal and formal definition.
In terms of a formal definition, a role is assigned by a group or organization's rules. Some examples of this could be a president or a treasurer in a club. Also, formal roles can determine the procedure in a group. Take the role of president, for example. Within this role, the president could take charge and adopt a leadership role which would determine who speaks during meetings, as well as what topics they can or should address. This formal definition of a role is most effective when people are properly placed in suitable roles.
A more informal definition is that roles are functions that someone might fulfill without necessarily being assigned to them. This definition of a role is more focused on the functions that someone fulfills rather than the formal title of the role. Within the informal roles, people can have informal roles that do not necessarily match the formal roles they have been inherently assigned.
And now that we have established what roles are, we can explain some different types of roles that can be applied to groups.
So the first one is that of the captain. This role is similar to that, the president role mentioned before. The captain takes on leadership characteristics and usually takes charge to initiate action within the group.
Another role that is worth mentioning is that of the recorder. The person usually is organized and takes note of the tasks that the team will be completing. Also, if a formal report is required at the end of the task, that is assigned to the group. The recorder is the one in charge of making sure that they get the information with which to keep themselves on track.
Another beneficial role is a reflector. This person is usually observant and can bring individuals back as a whole group to kind of reflect and converse on the bigger picture for the project. And this may include urging people to focus less on small details and consider the larger picture at hand.
And so the role of a spokesperson is not always utilized, but is one that can be applied within the ProMod project. And the spokesperson usually advocates for the project and tries to sell their idea or the group's idea to others.
As ProMod relates to project-based learning for engineering, a technology specialist can be extremely useful depending on the type of group project that you're going to be working on. It's very self-explanatory, but the person is focused on whatever technology or software that someone should be using in the project, which can include people familiar or skilled with CAD software, programming software such as MATLAB, and this can assist in the designs of the data or making sure that designs are fulfilled within the project itself.
Another role is one of a planner, which is someone that can take on a role that's more focused on the organizational aspect of the project. So this could include planning what tasks people in the group may need to complete, as well as keeping in mind deadlines for the project. And so this is very beneficial because it does help keep the group on task.
And so the role of a timekeeper fits well with some of the previous organizational roles. And so the timekeeper is an individual that is concerned with how and where time is divided and spent for certain tasks.
Two roles that also fit very well together are the skeptic and the optimist. The skeptic provides commentary and thoughts about certain ideas to determine if it is plausible or not. This helps to keep the group on track with the goal of the project and if they can meet it or not, giving that sense of realism. Likewise, the optimist is someone who encourages good ideas to help move the group forward toward the end goal.
And finally, the last role is one of a spy, which is someone who can take on this role to learn more about competitor ideas. So it helps ensure that a design with the most innovative and applicable ideas are being implemented. So this may include learning about competitor ideas to see what else the group or project could implement into their own design.
And some maintenance roles that are important are supporter encouragers, harmonizer tension relievers, gatekeepers and expediters, and the feeling expressor. And these roles are pretty self-explanatory, but they aid in ensuring that the group is on track and keeping a positive mindset during the group work. Since it is in fact a group effort, these roles are important so that the group harmony is kept intact and the group is able to focus on the tasks at hand.
However, while most of the roles discussed in this video have been positive and beneficial to the productivity of the group, It is important to address the disruptive or self-centered roles. By understanding the attitudes when groups encounter them, they can define the negative attitude and know how to deal with them.
So some of these roles include, one of the first ones is a stage hog, which is a person who's concerned with being the focus of the group, and they usually are insistent on following only the ideas or plans that they introduce.
So another one is the isolate. This is someone who usually distances themselves from interacting with the group. They usually abstain from contributing ideas or partaking in group discussions.
Another one that we're all most likely very familiar with is the clown, which is someone that continually keeps the group off task through conversation that does not pertain to the topic at hand.
Another role is that of the blocker, and the blocker is someone who's usually unwilling to agree on decisions regarding the group.
So the next one would be the fighter controller. The fighter is someone who halts the progress of the group. It is not done for a specific reason, it's just to be counterproductive.
There's also the role of the zealot, which is someone who is dead set on an idea and is unwilling to move forward with any other idea, which is also very counterproductive for the group.
And the last role is one of a cynic. While a pessimist is helpful by keeping the group grounded in ideas and being realistic, a cynic is someone who is just consistently negative in feedback, even when it may not necessarily be true.
So after all of these negative roles have been defined, it's important that you try to address them in order to make a more efficient and harmonious group. By inviting this individual into the conversation and asking for their opinion, it can usually avoid conflict while still trying to resolve this type of role.
Hopefully these definitions and examples are helpful in deciding roles for your group, as well as understanding situations when they can be applied. Collaboration is extremely important as an engineer, so these roles are important in order to know how to work with others in a beneficial way.